And for more on the heist and probe into how it all went down, let's speak with Robert King Whitman. He's a former special agent with the FBI, and he joins us live from Philadelphia. Roger, thank you very much for joining us on the show. Really appreciate it. So we know why, fairly straightforward. They want money. We know how it was done, and we've been hearing what's needed to improve security. So the next big question, I suspect, on many people's minds is, have the authorities run out of time? It's been over 4 days now. Are these priceless, I guess, gold and the precious stones, are they now lost forever, never to be seen again in their original shape and form?
Well, we hope not. I mean, here's the situation that I see right now is that the French police are going to be looking all over for these pieces. They're going to want to get them back. So as a result, it's a case of the what we call gumshoe work being done, where people are sitting down, going out, doing their interviews, talking to criminals in the streets, and seeing if there's some way that we can work a deal to get these pieces back.
Yeah, but Robert, what about the thieves? Because France's interior minister says he's confident the thieves would be caught, but do you think that's going to happen? And if so, what's likely going to happen to them?
Well, the situation here, it's twofold. First of all, it was a well thought out, well planned out theft. They did a good job as far as getting into the museum, hiding their original intentions by having these yellow construction vests on. So people just believed that they were just working. And that's why they weren't stopped right away. They did a good job of thinking it out, but they did a terrible job of actually executing the robbery. They dropped so much forensic evidence behind. They left the vehicle that they used to put the ladders up. They dropped one of their vests onto the ground. That vest is going to have DNA evidence all over it. So ultimately, all of this information is going to come together. The police in France are going to be able to speak to their informants, and I think they're going to be able to piece together who was involved in this robbery. At that point, they'll get arrested. They're looking at multiple years in prison, maybe up to a decade.
So Robert, I mean, the museum director of the Louvre has spoken, and I'm just wondering, are you surprised from what you've heard from her? I mean, which was the most shocking part to you? I mean, to me, it was that sole camera that was pointing the wrong way. Is there anything else that really stood out for you?
No, because I know all that. When we talk about museum security, I do a lot of museum security surveys. I work, with the National Gallery here in the United States and different galleries all over the world, actually. And when it comes to trying to secure a building like the Louvre, remember, it goes on for blocks. And it was not created as a museum to begin with. It was the palace of the King of France. So it wasn't made with that kind of security in mind at a time when you needed that type of security. So it's very difficult because of the infrastructure, as she said, to be able to do current modern security upgrades in a museum like that. So I wasn't surprised about that. I've seen that all over Europe. Those museums, some of them are 1,000 years old. The stone structures around them are feet thick, multiple feet thick sometimes, and it's very hard to get wireless surveillance inside that type of structure. So I wasn't surprised at all. The camera being pointed away from the balcony, well, why would you point it at the balcony? Why wouldn't you be pointing it at the cases? That makes total sense to me. You'd be guarding your cases, not the balcony. So the point there is you have a burglar alarm on the balcony that went off. Guards did go to the scene, but they were held off because these thieves were going to attack them with the cutters. So basically, they stood back and were just protecting the visitors at that moment. So I wasn't surprised, and none of it that she said surprised me. I expected all of that.
Yeah, and Robert, I mean, you're not surprised, and we know that the Louvre break-in is not the first one in the past few years. I mean, we've got museum break-ins in France, in Netherlands, and the UK. So what does that tell us about the security of museums, not just in France, but in many countries?
Well, museum security is fairly good. It's more extensive than, say, a jewelry store probably more as extensive as most banks. But what it tells you that if someone has a desire to break into any institution and they're willing to take a chance on getting caught, and they have the desire to get in and they plan it out, this way, this was done in the daytime. It tells you they can do it. There's no security that's foolproof 100%. So if someone is hell bent to go in there and do that, it can be done. Basically, security is a deterrent, and that's how we look at it. Basically, we try to set it up so it deters people from thinking about going in and stealing these things. Okay. But ultimately, if they're willing to give it all up, they'll do it.
Right. Robert, one thing that still puzzles me, and maybe you can help enlighten me here, is this funding shortfall, that the museum director brought up. I did some basic, calculations, and, the museum, based on entry fees alone, will bring in 200 million euros, thereabouts. Is that not sufficient to secure the world's most visited museum, in your view?
Well, the problem with security at museums is that when it comes to funding, exhibitors, donors are interested in doing things that are sexy. They're interested in doing exhibitions, giving artwork and putting their name on it as a donor, that type of thing. Nobody wants to pay for the camera. They want to pay for the exhibition. That's a sexy thing, not the camera. So it's tough. And also there's a situation where, security goes on the downside of the ledger. That goes on the payment side, not on the income side. So everybody wants to, to boost the income side of all these museums, but not the payment. And so as a result, they cut where they can. And where's the first place you cut? You cut security, because it's a deterrent. And, instead of buying the $100 camera, you buy the $25 camera. But the problem is, that's what you get. You get $25 worth of security. And that's just the way the mentality is all over the world when it comes to security.
Yeah, quite unfortunate, Robert, what happened here. And with such a high-profile heist like this one and all the attention that this has gotten, do you think that this will push museums to boost security, or will this encourage looters to go and be bolder?
I think it's going to raise awareness of security. They're going to be more aware, more alert. But security is three things. It's human resources, proper training for those human resources, and motivation. That's the guards and having them trained and motivated. It's electronics, it's your surveillance, it's all that, your motion detectors, the cameras themselves. And finally, it's procedures and manuals. A burglar alarm is no good if you don't turn it on. So all these things have to come together to create the stool, all three legs. If you don't have the three legs, the stool won't stand. So as a result, I think that, security directors around the world are going to be looking askance at any type of situation that they can't control. And so I think that, it'll raise awareness, at least for a while. But remember, like you said, just this year, the museum in the Netherlands was hit, and Romanian crown gold material was stolen. And then again, in the Natural History Museum in Paris last month, it was hit. And another €1 million worth of gold was taken. So it's not, this is happening quite often now. And part of that's because of the price of gold. Going up to 4,000 an ounce, that creates interest from criminals.
Yeah, I appreciate your insights today, Robert. I hope those jewels will be found soon. And that was Robert King Whitman there, former special agent at the Federal Bureau of Investigation.